I'm fine with just this.
All right, then I'm clicking live. I'll let you know once we are live. Starting live. And we're live.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing marvelously well. Am I monitoring on headphones, Eric?
Your choice.
Headphones and speakers. I have choice. How are you all? Wow, it is 11 on a Friday, June the 14th, for anybody watching back this. June the 14th, 2019. So who's on? Let me turn down the bing. So good to be back. Yes, it is, Alex. Hello, Mark, Becca. Hello, Toby Davis. Hello, CJ. Hello, Chris Ibbotson. Hello, Toby, Michael, Jörg, Anita, Sergio, Perfect Sounds Unleashed, Philip, Los Cajones, Todd, Toby again. Toby again, that's you have two names, Toby Davis and Toby again. Chris, Christopher Libranda, or Libranda, hopefully I messed that around. Time for first coffee? Oh no, I took my son to school this morning for his last day before the summer holidays start. And wow, that was, I think I was up at 6 a.m. So I've been up for a long time. And plus, of course, I've been going to bed early and waking up early because of the time difference. Anyway, I hope you're all doing marvelously well. Hello, Diego. So, and yeah, and Eric's over there. Yes, we missed you too. So, we're going to get stuck in with some mixes. Dum, 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 dum. Okay, see, we don't have the thing on here muting the mic because we're using this one. Yep. Are you hearing me okay?
Yep.
You're looking nervous.
No, I wanted to let you know that we do in the minimized screen have their posts.
Okay, great. So where are those?
If you go to the right of the dock.
Google Chrome?
At the bottom, you can click Chrome. I'll bring it up too.
Okay, great. So I can go and see who's first. So the first one is Scott P. with Stronger. Hello, 76 Spritz. Hello, Matteo. School's out forever. So first up is Scott P. So let's click on there and read what's good. Scott P says, another fun Warren production. Thank you ever so much. Warren's mix was already rocking, so I hope I didn't overcook it. I added a couple of percussion parts for additional energy. Created in GarageBand. Varied the snare samples from verse to chorus. Nicely done. Used UAD SSL Legacy or Slate EQ on each channel. LA3 on guitars, 1176 on keys, and CL76 and DS on vocals. Not much as far as effects. A little reverb and echo on the lead vocal, some tape emulation on the vocal, and mix bus to soften the digital edge. I don't know. Can we have digital eggs? What would those be? 1 to 2 dB of bus compression, 2 dB of 60 Hz from a Pultec EQP1A plugin. I mixed in a touch of the Marshall amp emulation from STL on the guitars in the chorus. Okay, excited to hear. I'm going to listen to this initially on headphones.
If you wanna leave, there's a cab downstairs. If you wanna go, baby, I don't care. If you wanna fly, then here, take my wings. Go up in the sky, sky, sky. Lately your lips have made me go crazy. Baby, I don't need your heart. Lately your lips have made me go crazy. Baby, I don't need your heart. 'Cause I'm stronger, I'm stronger, I'm stronger. Get out, get out, get out. I'm stronger, I'm stronger, I'm stronger. Get out, get out, get out. 3 minutes ago, you slammed the door. I'm fighting the feeling, I might crave some more. I'm moving on, this love was full of gold. You were bitten by something that turned you cold. Lately your lips have made me go crazy. Baby, I don't need your heart. Lately your lips have made me go crazy. Baby, I don't need your heart.
I like this a lot, Scott. I think it's really, really cool. I think number one, everybody's a couple of people pointing out. Yes, it is Little Empire, Derek. A little bit more 40 to 60 on the kick, and the reason why I say 40 to 60. It's a great conversation. I love talking about kick drums because this is a continual thing that comes in with everybody's mixers, and it's a real sort of learning curve. So if you take 60 hertz and boost it there with a decent sort of bell curve around it, you're going to pull up 80 and 40 as well, aren't you? You know, as soon as you put up 60 hertz, so if you went down to 60 on this kick and gave another 2 dB of that area, you're also going to pull up some of the 40 hertz and the 80 hertz, and maybe, you know, as low as 20 or as high as 100. However, the two problem areas really are going to be more, you know, slightly the 20 hertz. So if you want, you could just tighten the high pass there a little bit, but I don't think it'd be that too much of an issue. What I'd be more interested in doing is making sure that when you pull that 60 up, you get the 40 in there, so you get that kind of like underneath sub effect, but you also maybe duck a little bit of 80. So take a tiny bit of the 80 hertz and pull out like a dB or so. Also, I like about 100 to 110, just pull out a little bit of that. So you're boosting the kick, but you're also making sure that you don't smother the bass guitar. That's the first thing, really, I think would make a huge difference to this mix. The mix is fantastic. Now, as a couple of people are saying, it's also loud. I don't know if it's necessarily too loud, but it's definitely not giving the mastering engineer much to do. You know, if we look at it, sorry to say look, but you can hear it obviously, you know, the kicks are getting squared off. It's definitely, we're using a limiter here. See this area here? The limiter is obviously dramatically squaring that off. So what would I do? Well, first thing is I would learn from that. So if for instance, you feel like you're using the limiter to tuck the drums in, then maybe those kicks and snares need to come down a little bit. You know, so let's go and listen to, you know, an area here.
There's a cab downstairs. If you wanna go, baby, I don't care.
So the kick sits nicely there, but the limiter is doing that. The limiter is pushing it back in. So stream of the mix, I'm not sure what you mean. Anyway, so basically,
There's a cab downstairs. If you wanna go, baby, I don't care. If you wanna fly, then here, take my wings. Go up in.
So what I would do is I would bring that kick down. Let's just, you know, just give it a little bit. It's basically, yeah, it's 100, but I mean, essentially, you know, that's about 80 hertz there. That's boosting quite a lot. So it's, yeah, 80 to 100-ish kind of area. But ultimately, do all the things we're talking about. So boost that 60. Make sure you pull out a little bit of 80 and 100, so that's not being boosted in where the bass is sitting. But what we're going to, so essentially, I would frankly just turn the kick drum down in those sections so that you're not using the limiter to bring it down. So literally go into those sections here.
There's a cab downstairs. If you wanna go, baby, I don't care. If you wanna fly, then here, take my wings. Go up. Lately, your lips have made me go crazy, baby. I don't need your
So I think generally the kick could even come down slightly there and let the low end like kind of fill it in a little bit more, you know what I mean?
Lately, your lips have made me go crazy, baby. I don't need your Lately, your lips have made me go crazy, baby. I don't need your heart. 'Cause I'm stronger, I'm stronger, I'm stronger. Get out, get out, get out. I'm stronger, I'm stronger.
I mean, it's sitting nicely in there, but it is definitely the limiter that's shaving it off. So I would, you know, bring the kick down, add that little bit of low end in there, and then see where we're at from there. Because the mix sounds great, but obviously limiting across the whole of the top is really, it's a nice thing, but it's essentially catching the drums most therefore tucking the drums in. Let's see if we can get that drum mix just right and not have to use the limiter to shave off the top and bring it in. Otherwise, fantastic mix, really, really tasty. I'm going to go to the end and have a quick listen. I think in general there, I need some more low end of the bass. The bass could come up in those sections where it gets a little fuller, just so it has like a little bit more girth, especially behind those synths and those guitars. But I think the main takeaway from this is more of the kind of the 40 to 60 area on the kick without overdoing the 80 to 110. And then not using the limiter to just, you know, make a mixed decision. I think if a kick is too loud, then bring it down. Don't let the limiter just shave it off. Limiter's great, but we need to have that balance coming in so the limiting is controlling the overall thing. But if you do want to use the limiter to control the kick, control it at the bus level, at the kick summation, you know, where all of the drums are summing together, and then send that to the master bus. That could be another way you could solve the issue that you're getting there. But on the whole, a great, great mix. All right, next up is Keith. Let's go and read Keith's there. Dum, dum, dum. Okay. Hey, so Keith says, my latest self-imposed challenge was to trap my buddy Tyler Hughes playing live drums in my treated spare bedroom and then mix it into a song. No samples, just the sound of a sweet maple shell Gretsch annoying my neighbours with a match pair of Rhodes M5 overhead in a recorder man formation. 57s on the snare toms, Beta 52 in the kick, and my Roswell Mini K47 out. I needed to justify the purchase of the SD3 with the orchestral SDX, and there was a pause begging for one moment of percussion, so I threw in probably the most expensive vibra hit you've ever heard. Reamp the bass DI with the Sans amps, because who doesn't love that blended with a supplied mic amp track? The organs of the saxes were pretty much in good shape. I threw the raw distortion pedal on them by accident and loved it, so it stayed. Happy accidents are always good, my friend. The piano got a Fairchild 660 to tame it a little more than the Fermiota Cultra made it dirty again. Then the Fermiota Cultra Vultra made it dirty again. Lovely. I have a Fermiota Cultra Vultra, I think, just over with Jack. I think I have a red one and we have a black one. They're really good. I wanted to literally reamp the guitar, so routed the DI track back through the line out through the hole to the live room. I fed it through my pedal board and into my Vox rig, lovely, with the same Mini K47 in the front of a Celestion greenbacks and a 57 on the open back. Nice, so front and back miking. Mini K47 on the front and 57 in the open back. Very nice. I presume you've obviously flipped the polarity. Pro Tools playing the guitar track through my own gear. I heard it and it was good. Excited to hear those guitars. Moves everything up over the Buddy's orange rig. Sounded different, of course, but still great. Back into Pro Tools, they weren't quite different enough. So one side got pitched up 6 cents, nice, and the other side down the same. Started playing with the Fatso senior compressor and finally got the sound I loved. All right, we're interested to see how those sound. Took time to remove all the H3000 vocal tracks so I could practice my own effects, and then the H3000 plugin went on so guess what effect I used? Nice! I got a Wave SSLE and touched a little EQ for clarity, then Wave Sibilance took the edge off. Another Fairchild 660 since it worked out for me on a piano, followed by the Cultra Vulture because it goes to 11. Nice. Master Bus, LA2A, bump of DB2 with the SSL G-Bus compressor, again just touching it. Next is the manly massive passive EQ so I could pretend to be like Warren Sokol. Lovely. Finish with a T-Rex 1 and call it done for now. Always open for input. Together we can make the song rock. Special thanks to the live chat crew for your ears. Lovely. Okay. Keith Fells with Hey Lady. Give it a listen.
Tell me, don't you know, your man's been trifling ever since you went away from home. Sweet lady, where you gonna go? Been thinking about you lately, so why not come over? The reason to this ride, I just want your lips against mine, so why not just come over and say what's up tonight? what's up tonight. Alright. What do you wanna kick it with me? I'll make you feel alright. You feel better tonight. Alright. What do you wanna kick it with me? You're so sick, go and call me the doctor tonight. Oh, no, it's gonna leave you fell from the sky. You're an angel from heaven, it's going through hell, so fight over here, girl. I'll leave the light on for you, girl. 'Cause there's no reason to describe. I just want your hips against mine, so why not just come over and say what's up tonight? Say what's up tonight. Whoa, whoa, sweet lady, yeah. Shit, girl, yeah. Just come over and say what's up to me.
It's really good. I really like it. We'll listen to a couple of things.
Say what's up tonight. Whoa, sweet lady, yeah.
Yeah, groove-wise, it's getting a little. It's not quite matching a little bit. I don't know if it feels like the piano and the drums are a little bit out of sync. It's very difficult to do what you're doing, which is to track drums to a finished song. So my hat's off to you. I've done it hundreds of times, and every single time it's a pain in the butt. Because no matter how good the drummer is, and I'm talking world-class drummers, it's difficult to find that safe place in a track. When you're tracking a band live, they have the benefit of working together live. But more importantly, the drummer and the bass player are creating a groove between them. And then the guitar player is creating a groove with the bass and the drums, etc., etc., etc. And then the singer is obviously singing across the whole top. Now, the drummer, in reverse engineering terms, has to come in there and find a place that's a happy medium between a pre-existing bass line and guitars. So what you've done is a very difficult and thankless task. But I would say that that's the one thing that jumps out, is there's just moments where it's not quite locking. And I don't have any criticism for the drummer, because I know the best drummers in the world would struggle doing this. So I think what you have to do is go in there, and what I would do is, firstly, I would just kind of isolate the bass and the drums and listen down and see if there's some really obvious things where the bass and the drums aren't locking, and correct those. Then start adding instruments and just see if you can get it. The thing is about that piano is it's really the dun 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 is really driving the song. So I think it's a case of a case of drums, bass, and piano locking together and feeling like one entity. That's really where I would go. Then other than that, the drums sound good when I hear them, but there's whole periods where, like here,
I just want your angel from heaven, it's going through. Say what's up tonight. Whoa.
I hear them, but I want to hear them better. And I think, again, sort of like super low end on the kick, a little bit more of that. Again, don't go crazy, but a couple of dB, pulling up the 60, but being aware that we're not trying to exaggerate 80 to 100 where the bass lives. So you, again, boosting that 60 with a wide enough bell that it pulls up the 40 and maybe even a little tiny bit of 20 to get some real low subs in there, but at the same time not being afraid to duck a little bit of 80 to about 110. It's very, very important, and it's something we talk about a lot. But yeah, Keith, it's so tough to come back and have a drummer do this. The best drummers in the world have this issue, but it's the biggest thing for me. Get those drums up, let's sort of take it from there. All right, great work. I really, really appreciate it. And thanks for all the detail on the email. I love that, going in to explain everything that you've done. Okay, next up is Roman. Rowan Korolkov. Dear Plat members, this is my mix of one of my favorite tracks in the Academy. Well, thank you. It's Bullet. And Roman says his monitors are HS8. All the plugins are from the Slate Everything bundle. Great. Vocal was the Opto Compressor Softtude Summit Audio TL1 100A. The reverb is the T-Verb Eventide. And he said he got a beautiful toy with an incredible discount. To let the vocal sit better in mix, he's decided to try a track spacer, Waves Factory on the buses. He said this is a secret weapon. Plug-in pushes down to the level of specific frequency elements in one channel based on the prevalence of another channel. So the mid components of my mix give a space to the vocal only where is necessary. At least it was the idea. Okay, we'll see. I've never tried that, so I want to see how it works. And he said his reference tracks were Avril Lavigne, Smile. So I tried to make this mix sound as girlish, naughty, and playful as possible. And of course, Warren's mix, of course. Fantastic! Very, very excited to hear it, Roman. Here we go.
I've been hit first, felt the bullets, pulled the trigger. I'm not a killer. I've been caught by your lovesick drive-by. You knock me out and I can barely breathe. Hit so hard my heart skips a beat. All I need is a little release. Don't open my eyes. The battle is done and I think that you won. Don't open my eyes. Take my own hurt and save my life while I can. Don't open my eyes. Yeah. Take back your bullets and your bullshit. Your stupid music, your guitar, I don't want it. You did me so wrong. Load of fake songs. Ready, aim, fire. Don't open my eyes. The battle is done and I think that you won. Don't open my eyes. I'll take my own hurt and save my life while I can. Don't open my eyes. Cause you left me out in the dark in there. There's no one I ever had. Oh, you left me out in the dark in there. There's no one I ever had. Don't open my eyes. The battle is done and I think that you won. Don't open my eyes. I'll take my own hurt and save my life while I can. Don't open my eyes. Take back your bullets. Take back your bullets. Ooh. Take back your bullets. Take back your bullets. Ooh. Take back your bullets. Take back your bullets.
Okay, just listen to a couple of things there. So I think in general, I like the clickiness on the kick. I just think in areas, you know, where it's just sitting out on its own a little bit more, it needs to be less clicky. It's fine in the choruses to have the extra attack because it helps define when it gets dense. However, in general, I feel like the mix bus compression is really controlling, clamping down on the song. I mean, it's It's right on the verge. We're seeing some square waving, just a little tiny bit in the verses. And then, of course, when it goes to the choruses, it's super clamped down here.
Open my eyes, the battle is done, and I think that you won. Don't open my eyes, take my own hurt and save my life while I can. Don't open my eyes, yeah.
And there's definitely sort of some pumping, compression going on, you know, when the vocal's going, and it could be that plugin you're using. It's hard to tell because it's obviously hitting the master bus super heavily at the moment. It's so I think what I would do, I mean, the mix is great, but go in there and try and do a little bit more compression on individual elements before they hit the master bus, so it's a little less squared off on the master bus at this stage. Give yourself, you know, some more headroom in there, because at the moment it feels like there is definitely some pumping stuff. When she goes up to a higher note, the bass gets a little louder. Have a listen.
Open my eyes, the battle is done, and I think that you won. Don't open my eyes.
Because she gets thinner, so her vocal takes up less low end, and so the bass fills it up. So I think that's the plug-in working. I'm not sure if that's necessarily what I would do. I think those plugins are very useful in certain situations, but I don't know. I think you can create some more space in the mix and still have her coming in without the need necessarily of that plugin. But I think generally it's going to come down to automation on the kick, you know, not being as clicky in the verses, and then allowing the master bus to breathe a little bit more. Maybe try some more compression, you know, earlier on, so by the time it gets to the master bus doesn't have to do as much. And if you have to, create false dynamics. You know, turn down the verses like, you know, 0.7 of a dB, so when the choruses come in, they're more open. Don't be afraid to do that. And don't also be afraid to automate your threshold. So if your threshold is here on your master bus and it's compressing like this, you know, on your compressors and limiting, and then when the chorus comes in, it's like going so much and you're squaring it off, don't be afraid to raise that threshold. It's like you can automate the threshold on your compressor and your limiting on different sections as it gets deeper. Okay, really great work. This is the portion where you get to talk to Eric. Eric, come over here before we listen to Toby's. You get to ask Eric any question you like about what it's like to work with the slave driver that is known as Warren Huart. Here we come.
Here he comes.
Here he is. Mr. Eric von Derrickson.
Am my mic's up? I'm good.
Is it up? Can you hear him?
That is that's yours.
This is mine turned up? You don't want me turned up, you need Eric turned up. I'm not sure that Ezekiel knows how to do this.
Oh, 1 second, everyone.
Speak.
Check.
Okay, can you turn me down because I'm going to the bathroom?
Yeah. Whoop. Check. There we go. Boom. Boom. I threw Ezekiel in the fire. He had no idea what he was going into, so he's running the mixer over there. And I just gave him the mic. Didn't even connect it. I just gave him the mic. You know, it's just like, here you go. But yeah, how's it going, guys? Oh yeah, chat right here. Eric time. Yes. Yes, Warren's mic is off. Don't move much? Oh, is it doing that thing? Okay. Snap, crackle, pop. We are getting new receivers from Sennheiser. That's what I heard when Warren went off to unmute the bathroom mic. Oh my God. When Warren went off to Germany, he spoke to Sennheiser, either him or Kasha. One of their team. They spoke to Sennheiser, and Sennheiser's gonna, you know, hook it up. Oh, Dave, actually, I travel technically for free when I go with them. It's great. It's amazing. Is it still breaking up, or is it okay? I have to stay super still because this receiver, well, transmitter, yeah. I didn't get to go to Europe this time, Lisa, but I did go last time when we went to Super Booth, and that was awesome. That was crazy. It was my first time outside of America. I mean, I've been to Mexico, but I don't really count that because, you know, I've been there a bunch, and it's just south of where I'm at by like 2 hours. Yeah, Mr. Sennheiser. Audio's good, right? Okay, cool. Yeah. How's it going? How's it going, everyone? I wish I had something to show you guys or talk about. I'm terrible being on the spot like this. I don't even have a joke ready. Can still make out what I'm saying. Okay, good. I hope it's not bad. I thought this one was the good one. Did I get a new shirt in Vegas this time? No, but I didn't get a new shirt because I didn't have an accident on my shirt, so I didn't have to replace said shirt. Yeah. Mexico and Canada don't count. Although I would like to go to Canada. It's a little more than 2 hours away, so I feel like that might count for me. German beer, yes. I think I was the only one really drinking German beer. Everyone else was in work mode. I was just in Germany mode. I know, Anita. I messed up on that one.
Oh, messed up.
Yeah, I didn't.
The word West up.
I didn't have my joke ready. Normally, I
Didn't have a joke. What is your joke? Come on, you must be able to come up with one.
I'll come.
Say
Next
an
one.
Eric joke. No,
Next
no,
one.
don't leave until you have the Eric joke.
Oh man, you
What
put me
is
on the
the Eric
spot.
joke?
Hold on. I have them on my phone. I have to go through my phone. I have to go find them. I'll type it out for everyone. Or, one sec. I think I have them right here. Oh, jokes. Great. Sweet. How do you wake up Lady Gaga? I might have said this one already.
How do you wake up Lady Gaga?
How do you wake up Lady Gaga?
What was the name of that first big hit of hers? That's the answer is that first big hit of hers.
Yep, you're on the right track. Poker face.
Yeah.
Duh.
Poker face. Bada boom, bada bing. Very droll. Can you make sure we got the right mic turned up now? We have a new guy, new kid, Azika. Do 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 do. Mexico and Canada don't count. I don't know what's going on there. What's all that called? What? Yeah, Eric was just lying in a pool of his own vomit, drinking vodka the whole time I was gone. I think that's what happened. All right, Toby is up next, and I can hear myself like super loud. What's that coming through?
Whoop. That might be my
headphones.
My headphones.
Okay, so thank you ever so much, Roman. Let's listen to Toby. He says, "Uh-oh, not my usual dark cinematic oddity. Who are you?" Another pop production. I will be the Simon Cowell of Luxembourg. Oh yes, I will be. Versprong, Max, Toby Pop. Vorsprong, sorry. Oh no, it should be Forsprong. Forsprong, Max, Toby Pop. Remix notes follow below, links for those included. SoundCloud link, Dropbox. Remix notes. I kept the vocals and the acoustic from the chorus. I replaced the piano and the bass in a more stripped down arrangement. Replaced the drums. Tried to match the snare sample and to the way professional drummist David Otterstad, or what did we find out was Otterstad? We were in Norway and I asked a woman in Norway, a Norwegian, how to pronounce his name properly. And I believe it's Otterstad. Added percussion. Also added additional instrumentation in the form of synths, strings in the verse, synth and ambient pad from the pre-chorus, marimba and bandoneon in the chorus. In the break, I went for a big contrast of hyperpop strings and pad arrangement, plus big impact and toms. The bridge section were created using the original acoustic guitar, which I lo-fied because I have my reputation to think of. Aha! Tobias. All right, Toby, here we go. Cold Days with Toby.
Never thought it would hurt this much. I'm living another kind of pain. From the moment I left, I knew it'd be hard. lost something along the way. Every day I shed a tear. I have too many scars. Closing doors, forgetting dreams that I once had in my heart. Cold days are harder when you don't have somebody to hold you close, somebody to hold you close. Cold days are harder when you don't have somebody to hold you close, somebody to hold you close. Nobody can understand. They can't see my darkness. Sometimes I wish I could go back. Will that even make a difference? It's only me and myself fighting to stay. Looking for somebody else, trying to live another day. Cold days are harder when you don't have somebody to hold you close, somebody to hold you close. Cold days are harder when you don't have somebody to hold you close, somebody to hold you close.
I can't remember who it is.
Closing my eyes whenever I can. I'm dreaming to see you once again. Closing my eyes whenever I can. I'm dreaming to see you once again. Cold days are harder when you don't have someone to hold. Cold days are harder when you don't have somebody to hold you close, somebody to hold you close.
Toby. Wow. Laura has such a special voice, and the thing was, it took me aback. You saw me take on my headphones asking Eric. I was like, I completely blocked the version, the original version of this song on what you've done. It's so different and so fantastic. Really blown away. I mean, really, really impressive. It's such a great song. She's such a great singer. It does lend itself to a lot of these remixes. So please, 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 please feel free, all of you, to do this. And Toby, thank you for providing the tracks for other people to remix. Yes, I did spot the lo-fi acoustic guitar when it came in, hence my reaction. I think in general, this is just super, super creative and exactly what Produce, I know I say this every week, but I will do it again, Produce Like a Pro is all about. Because ultimately, production is where it is at. Mixing is not just, I think mixing is sold as, us saving everything. It's just absolutely, it's not what it's about. This is about like getting in and bringing out great ideas, because great recordings are easy to mix, and great production and great mixes and remixes like this, I should say, remixes like this are so inspiring. So thank you ever so much, Toby. Absolutely wonderful work. I really, really appreciate it. You absolutely rock. Thank you, Toby. Everybody download this schnizzle and have a go at it. Everybody that wants to. All right, next up is Anita. So let's check it out. Great work, Toby. Okay. And thanks for all the detail. Nita says, this is version 8. Added more click to the kick and adjusted the sustain and the bass with the transient designer I have it on. The low end has been an absolute hardest to get right on this track. Thanks for listening, and I'm open to any and all suggestions. Version 7, oh, okay. So that's where we ended up. So Colfax, this one's a tough one, because this is essentially a live recording with stand-up bass. It was recorded on tape and then transferred to a DAW, to Pro Tools. Here we go.
I start on 6th, landed York and Maine. Something in the air got me on the cusp of saying, whatever you heard, it's only hate I abhor. Love still lives here just down a couple doors. No one will mess with me now. The twisted hang on fine and polished gangster leans. You're busted too, fairies on the scene. Believe what you want, but she's been down here for weeks. She's got 2 gold caps on her back where wings had been. No one will mess with her now. Sooner or later, you best choose which side you're on. Sooner or later, you best choose which side you're on. These just cold, these just hard, these just facts. The police put eyes up on the telepole, and they look down on the world through tiny little holes. So say what you will, you've been seen here before, but we all got our reputations to uphold. No one will mess with you now. It won't cool off by morning, gonna be hot all night. Everyone's here, and don't I make it right? So don't go and take this all wrong when I say, whatever you're into, just carry on, 'cause no one will mess with you now. Sooner or later, you best choose which side you're on. Sooner or later, you best choose which side you're gonna feel. These just cold, these just hard, it's facts. From the heart of cold facts. From the heart of cold
Anita, this is so good. I mean, you were struggling with some of the low end before on stand-up bass, but now this is phenomenal. Really, really happy. Is this with your new computer? So good. I'm gonna listen, I'm gonna drop it in about here. Let's have a listen.
But we all got our reputations to uphold. No one will mess with you now. It won't cool off by morning, gonna be hot all night. Everyone's here, and don't I make it right? So don't go and take this all wrong when I say, whatever you're into, just carry on, 'cause no one will mess with you now. Sooner or later, you best choose which side you're on. Sooner or later, you best choose which side you're gonna be on.
It's pretty amazing. So the only thing I can say is, like, first of all, EQ compression-wise, you've done an amazing job. Everything is in its place. Everything fits together in a really, really fantastic way. The only thing I want you to get into is some more panning. The electric's moving around. Just see if you can get a little bit more width. It's tough because it sounds really good, and it probably is a mix and is the mix. I think a really good mastering engineer could probably just make that feel just a little wider and a little bigger. That's the only thing. It's like maybe some like ambient verbs that are thrown out left or right, tiny amounts of delay that just add a little bit more halo of width around it. That's really all I'm missing. It's just subtle things. Otherwise, it's absolutely superb, and you should be really, really proud of yourself. I know how far you've come, and God bless you. Really, really great work. Thank you, everybody that helps out people like Anita, because when I go on the chat, I see so many of you like sending mixes to each other. The chat is invaluable, and the way that you help each other out is superb. And all I can say is this is the proof of the pudding is in the eating, as they say in merry old England. And that was wonderful, wonderful work. Anita, bravo. Let's just see if we can get into some detail stuff. Let's work on some ideas of some stuff that just adds a little bit more width around it. Otherwise, absolutely superb. Congratulations. All right. Great work, Anita. Love how far you've come. Next up is Phil Bicker. And Phil says, my latest mix. Haven't submitted a mix in a while, but want feedback so I can move on to the next project. Hopefully wiser. Wonderful. Okay, let's give it a listen.
Hey lady, tell me, don't you know your man's been trifling ever since you went away from home? Sweet lady, where you gonna go? Been thinking about you lately, so why not come over? No reason to try. I just want your lips to get mine, so why not just come over and say what's up tonight? Hey baby, tell me what's the use in crying over him? You're so much better than all the shit he put you in, girl. And you need no explanation as to what you're feeling. See, I'm not here to judge you, just here to help your heart to heal it. And when you realize that life ain't so surprising at all, come here, sweet girl, and say what's up tonight. Alright. Do you wanna kick it with me? I'll make you feel alright, you feel better tonight. Alright. Do you wanna kick it with me? You're so sick, go and call me the doctor tonight. Oh, no,
Cool. So what I was saying now, I've just brought up the minutes and seconds counter because I think that's going to be useful in songs where we want to talk about specific areas. So if we go back to here at 2:18, have a listen.
'Cause there's no reason to cry.
It's starting to sort of fold in there. I'm actually going to bring down the volume a bit. It gets a little sort of crunchy. It's interesting because it's not like square waved off. If you look here, and I don't hear any like major square waving, but listen to the mix.
'Cause there's no reason to cry. I just want your head to get right. So why not just come over?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Toby. It's not so much that it's slammed through bus compression and EQ and stuff. There's just a lot of, I think, a couple of things. I think it's very narrow. It doesn't quite have the width. I think if we can, Phil, if you can pan stuff out a little bit left and right out of the middle, I think that would help tremendously. I think that's part of it is like he's super like, it's super like squashed down the center.
'Cause there's no reason to cry. I just want your head to get right. So why not just come over and say what's up tonight?
As I was saying in my notes, I find the vocal effect at first a little bit jarring, like there's too much of it. I get used to it, but I like to go on my gut reaction. To me, it's like, what do I first feel? I find that if you keep listening to a mix, you can get used to things. So after a while, I got used to the vocal effects, but I think the vocal effects should come down. I think, again, as is typical with all of us, there's a little bit more low-lows on the kick. The kick itself is a little clicky, and I think that's making up maybe for that. But I think the main thing here is getting things out of the center, so they're not quite so squashed in the middle.
'Cause there's no reason to cry. I just want your head to get right. So
Like everything's coming down there, like saxophones, guitars, all feels very, squashed into the middle. Let's try and like pan them around a little bit more.
night. Say what's up tonight.
I think panning is going to be the biggest thing. I think controlling the click on the kick, great. Adding some more low-lows on the kick. But really, Phil, if you can get into like creating some more space in the middle, so it's predominantly vocals, bass guitar, kick, and snare. If that's mainly down there, you're going to find the whole mix is going to open up. And where Toby's saying that it feels slammed, I think what he's hearing is not so much like things being compressed and limited as much as just everything in the same place. We need to create some more room for the vocal, the vocal, the bass, the kick and the snare. If we can create some center stuff down there, I think it will help. That's the first thing I would really kind of talk about. So I'm going to leave this minute counter and second counter up there. So if anybody's got specific notes of things they can hear, they can use that as a way of describing, because everything is butted up to 0 here. So everything starts in the same place. Wonderful. Well, great work, Phil. I mean, you're coming on leaps and bounds. Less vocal on the effect, get into panning, more low end on the kick, and control the click. So the click on the kick isn't as loud in the verses as it is in the kick, as it is in the choruses. Because obviously when it gets denser in the chorus, it's okay to have a little extra attack. And it also implies that the drummer is digging in a little bit more. All right, great work. Next up is Kip Paralyze. Kip says, I love this song. There was so many sounds in here from my youth. There's no sub-form for this song, though. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, I could use some feedback if anyone feels like it. I thought there was a sub-form. Okay, we'll make sure we get that taken care of. Eric, can you check that out, please? Eric's going to check it out. All right, having a listening to Kip's version of Paralyze. And yes, this is definitely down Kip's alley.
Cover my hands, bury my face in the bosom of the rain. from a worst prison. Lost in my mind is a shallow reserve, but you've got a lot of nerve. Feeling I get from closing my eyes is like throwing my hands in the air. But I can fill up my mouth with curses and lies. I don't think that my friends would care. I can feel my face going hot like a film strip melting. I yellow away, like cover my eyes like a moth to the lights that paralyze. Yeah, yeah. Are you wondering if falling out? Are you wondering? Time changes time into a spineless curve, turned on the dime, away from the worst prison. Lost in my mind is a shallow reserve, but you've got a lot of nerve. Time changes time into a spineless curve, turned on the dime, away from the worst prisons. Lost in my mind is a shallow reserve, but you've got a lot. Time changes time into a spineless curve, turned on the dime, away from the worst prison. Lost in my mind is a shallow reserve, but you've got a lot of nerve. You've got a lot of nerve. Isn't you've got a lot of nerve.
Really fantastic work, Kip. I know this is right up your Strasse. It's definitely something very akin to what the kind of music that you like to make, which brings me to a couple of things. I was expecting to hear a little bit more chorus focus on the bass, knowing your love of bands like Joy Division and The Cure and New Order and all of the great stuff that you love. So I actually think a little bit more effect on the bass as a focus would be nice. I really love what you're doing, but it definitely is a big drop. If we go here in the intro into the verse, have a listen to this transition.
I cover my hands, bury my face in the bosom of the radio, and it's been in my.
It's nice. It's just a little bit too much for me on the drums, just a tiny bit. I'd like to hear just. I need some little bit more oomph. Now I love the choruses. They're phenomenal. They sound beautiful, but I think you're playing with the dynamics just a little bit too much for me. because a lot of the instrumentation breaking down and being removed is quite a lot to help the dynamics in the song. Is the drums need to be just a tiny bit more even. I'm not saying you have to like, you know, completely reduce the dynamic push you're doing, but just lessen it a little bit more so it doesn't feel, it feels a little sleepy in the verses. And in general, don't be afraid to maybe put A, a bit more chorus on the bass, and B, a bit more verb everywhere. But be careful when you pull the chorus up on the bass, it's going to change the overall balance of the bass, so you're going to have to adjust for that. But yes, I think a bit more verbs going on, because that's also something else which is, you know, the references here were Joy Division obviously on the bass, but particularly on the choruses and stuff was like adding, the Sundays. You know, I wanted a Sundays kind of guitar meets the sort of Joy Division bass. So there's a bit of everything, and verbs can help you quite a lot. But wonderful work, Kip. I really appreciate all of the time and effort and everything. It sounds really, really great. But yeah, let's soften some of those blows, and I think you'll be in a really great work. How is Jay not on the radio all the time? I don't know. He is quite successful in his local area. He does really, really well. Okay, next up is Eric. Thank you, Kip. And Eric says, Eric says, hey, Arthur, thanks for the feedback. Yeah, I have to point to the kick. It's a little bit long to my taste. Not sure what to do besides replacing it altogether. Added small details like limb drums, tried to pump it up a bit, sidechain compression on the bass and guitar buses, sidechain with the kick. And that's the fun with putting the New York City trick through Cubase Loop Mash FX, added some bass and synth and bass to the outro. Okay, fan bleeding tastic. Let's have a listen. Very excited to hear.
Other girls may take your shit, I ain't gonna deal with it. They might let you call the shots, but with me, you're not. You know I don't fall for your games. Keep it a boy, watch me walk away. If you want to call yourself mine, be a man and just treat me fine. Make up your mind, don't waste my time. Be a man and just treat me fine. Ba-da-ba-ba-da.
secrets do I have? Yay, Eric! I hear myself delayed through Eric's headphones, the other house. That's really cool. I mean, the whole focus of your mix is kick and snare, and it's like super like smashed and loud, and I love it. Let's have a listen.
Walk away. If you want to call yourself mine, be a name and just treat me fine. Make up your mind, don't waste my time. Be a man.
I love all the additional stuff you did in Eric. Absolutely fantastic. I'm really impressed. This is one of those mixes where I have to say it's pretty perfect as it is. I don't really want to get critical because the criticism would just be like completely and utterly subjective. This is the beauty of a song like this and why I encourage everybody to go and do this. This was a song that was like written by me and Lauren. Lauren was sitting there. We just pretty much tracked it as we were writing it, and I love the way it is.
If you want to call yourself mine, be a
I think the only artistic choice I would make is to maybe make the ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba a little louder. But, you know, maybe some of the backgrounds a little louder. But ultimately, with a pop song like this, Eric nailed it because what he's done is he's kept it so it's just pumping the whole time. And this is something we have to be very cognizant of. If you gave this mix to a pop mixer, they would come back with something very much like this. They wouldn't have it as dynamic as maybe what we like in rock. In rock, we want, you know, Pink Floyd and the Beatles and Zeppelin and even Muse, you know, something modern. We have a lot more dynamics in it. But in pop music, it is pretty much kick and snare, smash you over the head, start to finish, you know, great. So Eric, great work. I have to give this one a 10 out of 10 for just pure dancing, got it, nailed it. Stick this up on your website, get work from it. Really great work. Really good work. And if you want to do like a vocal up and maybe a harmony up version as an alternative, do it. But otherwise, it works really well because it sounds like a remixed song that is all about the drums. And that is good. That is really good. Excellent work. All right, next up is Carlos Soto Melrogara. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name. I apologize if I did. The final take on Cold Days is relevant points of my process, separated the drum hits, bars 102, 104, provided a clean hi-hat groove. Then I created MIDI files of the bass and the snare drums that allowed to pan the hi-hat and treat the drums individually. I deleted the bass DI and have used the mic'd one only. I created a stereo acoustic guitar track by copying and pasting different sections of the only track. The bass guitar was a little off, especially in contrast to the stereo acoustic guitar. I had to quantize it in parts. Not a problem at all. I mean, it was a live performance. So as soon as you start adding stuff, anybody adds stuff, it's going to get a little messy. This is very like raw. The amount of time it took to record is pretty much the length of the video. And that was so great about Laura. And the rawness of the mix was all about that. The rest of the usual mixcraft, I use mostly EQ. I use barely any compression. Please don't be gentle on me. I can take criticism and I'm eager to learn. Thank you all for your feedback and kind support. Wonderful. Yeah, that's all I would say. It's like, that's the beauty of this song is you get to mix a song that you see recorded live. You know the process we did, how we recorded it, what microphones we use, the fact that we used the Audient ID44. I don't know if it's in the shot, but it's here. That's what we're monitoring through. That's what everything is recorded through. You get to hear it and see it exactly as it was. All right, let's have a listen.
Never thought it would hurt this much. I'm living another kind of pain. From the moment I left, I knew it'd be hard. But I lost something along the way. Every day I shed a tear. I have too many scars. Closing doors, forgetting dreams. my darkness. Sometimes I wish I could go back. Would that even make a difference? It's only me and myself fighting to stay. Looking for somebody else, trying to live another day. Cold days are harder when you don't have somebody to hold you close, somebody to hold you close. Cold days are harder when you don't have somebody to hold you close, somebody to hold you close. Closing my eyes whenever I can. I'm dreaming to see you once again. Closing my eyes whenever I can. I'm dreaming to see you once again. Cold days are harder when you don't have someone to hold. Cold days are harder when you don't have somebody to hold you close, somebody to hold you close.
It's really great, Carlos. The snare and the kick sounded fantastic. I love the snare. I actually like the acoustic where it was, and the vocals sounded great. I feel like this song is probably the one that's going to most benefit for some additional production. Now, remember, we did this super, super minimalistically, you know, with hardly any mics or anything. So I think that the mix is fantastic based on the minimal amount of elements and the fact that there is a very limited, you know, amount of recording techniques on it. I mean, it's one mic here and one mic there, just moved around and used in different positions. This is one song that you accept the challenge and mix as is, but also could be as a great one to do remixes to. It's a great one to maybe put another drum part on. And there's an opportunity here. Have a listen.
Somebody to hold you close.
I mean, what's going on there? There should be like, you know, there's no fill there, there's nothing. It actually falls flat, but it feels like it should actually lift up there. So it's a great opportunity for you guys and girls to like add some additional percussion stuff to, do some drums too. But as a mix, that was fantastic. But please feel free to do one of two things, mix it like that and do some fantastic work, or add some additional production too. Great work. I don't really have anything more to say about it, Carlos. I feel like, let's just go back for a second, have a listen to this.
Sometimes I wish I could go back.
I mean, you could add some 60 on the overall drum mix, a little bit of 60 hertz, just to feel that low end on the kick. You know, a Pultec or some kind of EQ would be really great for that. Would really be fantastic. All right, next up is Kurt. Last but no means least is Kurt. By the way, the L2 is on there, but it's not engaged. It's only got a -1 on the output ceiling, just to make sure there's no distortion. Okay, so last but no means least is Kurt, and he says, this is my second Feedback Friday submission. I'm grateful for all the things I've learned at PLAP. Thank you. You rock.
There's a space between, like holding the universe, trying to find out what it means. Is love all we need? Or is it mixed with a little fate and destiny? Don't know where it starts, don't know where it ends, yeah. I know where I've been, but I'm back to where I began. Find the reason, find the meaning of where I'm going. 'Cause I want it and I need it. Yeah. One reason, one life, one chance to make it right. 'Cause it all comes back, it all comes back around. Oh, and I've needed, I've tried, I've cried a million times, but it all comes back, it all comes back around. There's a space between, like holding the universe, trying to find out what it means. Is love all we need? Or is it mixed with a little bit of fate and destiny? One reason, one life, one chance to make it right. 'Cause it all comes back, it all comes back around. Oh, and I've needed, I've tried, I've cried a million times, but it all comes back, it all comes back around. I wanna do something more. I wanna fix my broken nose. I wanna look you in the face and tell you I was wrong. I wanna do something more. Can you fix my broken nose? Show me what I need. Show me what I need to know. Show me what I need to know. One reason, one life, one chance to make it right. 'Cause it all comes back, it all comes back around. Oh, and I've needed, I've tried, I've cried a million times, but it all comes back, it all comes back around. I wanna do something more. I wanna fix my broken nose. I wanna look you in the face and tell you I was wrong. I wanna do something more. Can you fix my broken nose? Show me what I need. Show me what I need to know. Show me what I need to know.
Fantastic, Kurt. So subtle things. First of all, fantastic. I love all the dynamics that you're introducing. It's really, really cool. I think for me, you came down a little bit too much in that second verse on the drums. I think I like you playing with the dynamics, and I think that's really smart. But maybe just a little bit more controlled. Maybe a little bit too much. I still want to hear just a little bit. A little bit of lows on that kick. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a big booming 40 to 60, but just a little bit more thud. I want to hear some more kind of like dry 70s thud on it. That would be really, really nice. I think now, with fresh ears, come back to it and maybe do some volume automation stuff and see if you can just get the balance of all of these dynamic sections and just make it feel really, really good. It's really nice. The lead vocal at the end gets a little lost when it gets super dense, just a little bit to automate the vocals there. Somebody made a comment about it getting a little harsh occasionally on the vocals. Yeah, it does occasionally. You could run some de-essing or a multiband across it occasionally. You just got to be careful that it recalls perfectly every single time. you've got to be careful. It's got to be really fantastic. So this is really good. I'm very impressed. I think go in there and do some little bit more volume automation and even it out a little bit. Give me some more thump on the kick so it just feels a bit more thuddy. I'm not talking about boom, like this massive, massive kick, but just a little bit more of that. I think I want to hear a bit more 70s sounding drums, you know. Otherwise, absolutely superb. Wow, what a great way to end up. Really fantastic. It's been a fantastic week. Thank you everybody that tuned in. It's nice to be back live. Obviously, while we're traveling, it's not as easy to do it, to be on the same time zone, but it worked up really, really well. Great work, everybody. Thank you, everybody that submitted. Thank you, everybody. This has been one of the most positive chat experiences. I really appreciate how everybody's like being really supportive and talking about the songs and the music. Really great. Thank you, everybody. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing, and we'll see you all again very, very soon.